there is no problem with your with another candidate, for example, dominating.
Exactly, yeah, that can be a problem. Or if their level's too low, you have to keep up with them. That's true. Okay. Now, like I said, there's 3 sections. 1 is the familiar topics. Those will all be about you. 2, mini presentation, sort of. We call it the long term. And the last one would be the discussion. Okay? We discuss the topic. Next one. All right. Now, here's how we assess your score. First one would be fluency and coherence. Who knows what, well, fluency is? You probably know this, right? What would be the definition of fluency?
I would say
Yeah, the rapidity of how you say it. Now, of course, you want to be talking 100 miles an hour like this because they don't understand you anyway. Right? So you want to keep a good rate of speech, right? Okay, you were going to say something?
And what does coherence mean?
Coherence. Who can help the little guy out here? Coherence.
How your ideas are connected in speech.
Exactly right. Yeah, how they're all connected. How basically your whole idea flows together.
The logical link between ideas.
Yeah, you'd have a logical progression, right? And you would use like linking words, right? And reference to things like that so that your ideas flow together naturally. That's a big word too, natural. About a lot of people get a whole band score higher whenever they just go in and say, okay, I'm just going to speak naturally. Not even worry about all the little grammatical details. Just be natural. Okay? All right, lexical resource. Who knows what that is? Vocabulary, the type of words that you use, exactly. So, instead of just saying, oh, this is a good thing, right? You want to say, oh, this is an excellent idea, right? So you want to use the bigger words, not those little small, more common words. All right, grammatical range and accuracy. Who can tell me what that is?
How you use tenses and words and forms of words.
Not exactly. Actually, the word forms go into the lexical resource. Okay, verb tenses, yeah, but there's actually another bigger idea here with grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, those would be the type of words that you use, right? Those would actually be in the lexical.
items.
That would be lexical also. There actually is a huge confusion here on what we actually mean by grammatical range and accuracy. Go ahead.
Prepositions.
No. Well, yeah, correct use of them, sure. There we go, I heard it. He said conditionals, who said structures? Bingo, exactly. That's the biggest thing. We want a wide variety of complex sentence structure. Okay? So, in other words, we want to hear sentences with more than one subject and or predicate. Okay? Alright, don't want a whole lot of simple sentences. Alright? Now, accuracy, of course, that means, you want your grammar correct, but it's a bigger idea to actually have a variety of complex sentence structures. Okay? How about pronunciation? Who knows what that is?
Whether it exists or not, that's it.
Whether it exists or not. Okay. Now, who's worried that if you sound like a Russian, you're not going to get a good score? Anybody?
Saying coherence instead of coherence.
Something like that, you think, okay. But who's worried if you sound like a Russian, you're not going to do very well in the exam? Anybody worried about that? Okay, a couple years ago we actually changed pronunciation, right? Actually, for example, has anybody talked to someone from Scotland? Can you understand them?
I don't know. It was from Ireland. It was terrible.
Okay, Ireland are not so bad, but how about Scotland? Who raised their hand on Scotland? Yeah. Can you understand them? No, they sound very funny, don't they?
Especially the Oi or something.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oi would be Australian. Oi. Okay. But here's the thing. We actually have native speakers, right, who we can't understand. Right? So we actually changed it where you can use your accent, but you just have to be clear. Okay? So you don't have to worry about sounding like you're from Britain or something like that, just as long as how you say it is clear. Okay? All right, good. Next one. All right, so here's some topics that we have on part 1. Now, the personal would basically be just about you, your hometown, where you live, things like that. Worker study is another common frame. Now, when I talk about frames, I'm talking about blocks of questions under the same topic. Okay? Other common ones: travel, friends, transportation, cooking, family, future plans, bicycles. Let me tell you a story on that. I had a speaking examination, and there was a very beautiful girl walked in for the speaking examination, and her topic was bicycles. And she looked at me, she's like, Like, how could she prepare for that? So you actually have to be prepared for some strange topics like bicycles, or sleeping, or toys. Okay? This has actually happened in speaking examinations, right? How many hours do you sleep? Do you like a comfortable bed, or do you like a hard bed? Things like that. Okay?
But
All
I
right.
have to speak about my relationship to bicycle. So just, for example, that now it's rather trendy in Moscow, that a lot of people use them.
Well, it depends on the question, of course, right? If you get a question like, do people in your city like to ride bicycles a lot? Then yeah, because okay, if you think about it, in China, there's a lot of people who ride bicycles, but I mean, if you go to like a Western country, bicycles are just used for recreation, not a major form of transportation, okay? So you might get a question like that, or it could be basically, you know, like, did you have a bicycle when you were a child, right? How many hours a day did you ride this bicycle? Things like that, okay? All right, so we got a combination of free time, entertainment, weather, holidays, computers. That's only a minor part of the amount of topics that you could be asked. Just think, anything that can be related to you, we could ask it. Okay? Yes?
I've got a question.
I've got an answer.
Do I understand correctly that they ask these questions in order to understand whether I have learned the answers or not?
No, okay. It's basically not if you've learned the answers. Basically, it's how you can respond to it, right? In kind of a natural setting, right? So, in other words, you know, like, instead of you being prepared for all of these topics and knowing the correct answer, well, it's basically how you would respond to them. Can you use English to communicate your idea based upon the question?
I see.
Okay, good. All right, next one. All right, now, getting into part 2 and part 3, one thing that you should do whenever you get your card in part 2 is first figure out what your topic is going to be, because that's going to be your topic for the rest of the speaking examination. Okay? So we actually use the topic in part 3 that is on your card in part 2. So, for example, we might give you a card and say, describe a game that you like to play. All right? Then you go through and you describe that game, and in part 3 we'd have a general discussion about games. All right? So, in the very chaotic fashion we have that. We have books and magazines, tourism, co-workers, transportation, food, family, environment, technology, housework accommodation. Now, if you notice, a lot of these are very similar to part 1 topics. Okay? But we wouldn't ask you the same one. All right? Okay, but they're changed a little bit. Like, for example, if you go back, can you go back a frame? Okay, here we have fashion. Go back one, good. And no. Here we have clothes. Okay? So, the topics will be similar, but there will be a little bit more broadly topic, let's say. Okay? Everybody get that idea there? Okay. Next one, get ready. Yeah, fashion. Okay. Education in part 1, we might ask you about school. Okay? So very similar, but these are just broader topics. Okay, everybody got your photos? Yeah? Okay, next break. All right, now, going into performance in Russia here, right? If you notice, very high scores on reading and listening, probably because you've had a lot of practice with it. Writing, we'll talk about that another day, but we have some lower scores here in writing. But the good news is that whenever I first came here, the average score was 5.5 in writing. So it's actually gone up half a band score. Congratulations, good job. Okay, but the average in speaking is around 6.5 for academic, and in general training it's about 6.26. Now that's actually an average. We don't have scores of 6.26, okay? So it's just a general average. We have a score like 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, just so you're not confused. Okay, next one. All right, now you get your results after 13 days, and it kind of looks like that. Maybe not that guy, but it's valid for 2 years, so you have to take it every 2 years, and there's no restriction on retaking. So if you really, really, really love to do this examination, you can come in every Saturday and take it, because it's a lot of fun. All right, next one.
Excuse me.
Yes.
And, if we passed this writing and reading one Saturday and speaking next Saturday, when do we get the results?
The results would actually come to you the week after you do your speaking. Okay?
The week after speaking.
Yeah, well, we count it like the 2 weeks after you do the main bulk, the listening, the reading, and the writing. So it doesn't matter if you have to take it the next week, you'll still